Good evening. I'd like to welcome you all to the Massachusetts Alliance Youth Speech Contest. We're excited tonight to listen to our speakers. Tonight's topic is what is heroism? And each speaker will present between 5 and 8 minutes. Now to the speakers, you will have a timer over here, and he will let you know when you have 1 minute to go. So at the 7-minute mark, you'll be notified. I encourage you to all have fun. This is a wonderful evening. Don't worry about your nerves. Use that good energy to help yourself get through it. The fun thing about tonight is tonight's competition, while we'll hear from a number of, I know, well-qualified speakers, one of you will be selected to move on. And the individual that's selected to move on will win a $100 scholarship, and then at the next level, we'll have an opportunity to further win. I don't know what the next level is, but you can go and progress through the competition. So we're excited about tonight's event. A few small rules. You can use your notes. You can have cards. And we want you to just enjoy yourselves. We welcome our judges, and we'll meet them later on, and we'll meet all of you later on. But tonight, we're going to start with student number 1, and we ask you to come up. Have fun.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Starting off a speech with an anecdote or a funny short story can be difficult to come by. But for me, it seems like fate magically placed me sitting at a cafe. That's when I heard two people have a rather interesting discussion. The man and his colleague were debating over who was a greater hero, Abraham Lincoln or Mahatma Gandhi. One of the men said, Lincoln opposed slavery in the United States, while his friend said, Gandhi used nonviolent protests against the British imperial force. In my mind, I was very confused on why these two men were debating over who was a greater hero. Shouldn't we, as knowledge seekers, find compelling similarities between these men instead of using their individual strengths against each other in a debate? After leaving the cafe with my coffee, I couldn't help but think all Gandhi and Lincoln had to offer in order to help people and inspire future generations with their courage, intellect, and generosity. Walking down the rainy sidewalk, wind controlled the nearby trees, shaking them violently. Speaking of violence, unfortunately, both Gandhi and Lincoln were assassinated for their actions and ideologies. Another similarity. Ironic how heroes grow like flowers and weeds consume them until we're left with an empty garden, waiting for the next growing season. As a kid, I've been interested in science. From paying attention to the galactic ships and droids in Star Wars, to planning my own experimental projects, science has always been a way for me to use my creativity and logic consistently. Not only does science help me organize my thoughts, but it helps me assess the needs of individuals and the environment. While being part of the science community for some time, I've learned of several scientists and researchers that have positively impacted the world with their discoveries, such as Isaac Newton, Stephen Hawking, and Jane Goodall, to name a few. Learning about researchers really helps me, a high school girl, become inspired by everything that is yet to be discovered. In particular, two scientists I want to address for their heroic contributions to the scientific world are Jonas Salk and Marie Curie, who also personally inspire me. As the first member of his family to attend college, Jonas Salk became a scientist-physician. However, during this time, an epidemic was spreading throughout the United States, polio, making the lives of adults and especially children harder. After being appointed director of the Virus Research Laboratory in Pennsylvania, Jonas Salk began developing techniques that could wipe out the most frightening virus at the time. Through trials and errors along with national testing, Salk and his team finally developed a safe and effective vaccine. When asked who owns the patent for the vaccine on live television, Salk responded with, and I quote, "The people, I would say. There is no patent. Could he patent the sun?" End quote. Patenting medical innovations keeps them expensive on the market, making it a struggle for many to afford. Salk wanted his vaccine to benefit human welfare instead of his pocket and fame. Because of Jonas Salk and his team, millions in America, as well as other countries, can continue to thrive without polio being a primary worry. Children can also continue getting an education without their parents tearing up, unsure if their kids will ever reach their goals due to polio. Almost half a century prior to Jonas Salk, Marie Curie was born in Poland to two educators who placed a high value upon learning and insisted that their children receive education in the classroom and at home. Curie moved to Paris to continue studying science. Part of Marie Curie's achievements is she discovered two elements to the periodic table, radium and polonium. Not only is discovering two elements to the legendary periodic table super cool and scientific, but the process is meaningful as well. The research both Marie and her husband did required hours, producing samples which regular labs did not have the space for. To accommodate, Marie and her husband moved to an old shed. A famous German chemist once visited the shed and described it as, and I quote, "a cross between a stable and a potato shed. If I had not seen the work table and items of chemical apparatus, I would have thought that I was been played a practical joke," end quote. This goes to show the Curies were determined to contribute to the science community, even if that meant working in a shed with poor conditions. In addition to radium and polonium, Curie helped to develop research centers, which are now used as cancer treatment facilities. With her joy for learning science, Marie Curie helped advance scientific research, while also giving back to the community. Now, how can I possibly compare Jonas Salk and Marie Curie like the two men at the cafe were comparing Lincoln and Gandhi? Both Salk and Curie were extraordinary scientists whose research benefited humanity. But just like Lincoln and Gandhi, heroes always have similarities with each other. Speaking of heroes, right now is probably a good time to address what heroism is. I believe true heroism is working towards a goal without knowing if success is possible. Additionally, heroism is also making sacrifices to benefit the future, making heroism all about selflessness, the act of placing others before yourself. Heroism is going above and beyond by devoting yourself to your interests, such as when Jonas Salk spent the last years of his life searching for a vaccine against human immunodeficiency virus, commonly known as HIV. Or that Marie Curie's notebooks will be radioactive for the next 1,500 years because the effects of radioactivity were unknown, which took a toll on Curie's life. Now that I've ranted about science and how cool I think researchers are, I now ask you this question. Can we ever compare heroes? There are many traits that a hero exemplifies, such as courage, determination, moral integrity, and resilience. However, heroes throughout history utilize these traits in different ways to help the people they are fighting for. Lincoln used different methods than Gandhi, but both changed the world for the better. Now, I'm not encouraging anyone to station themselves at a cafe and listen to an hour-long talk about a couple discussing what color to paint their kitchen wall, lilac or periwinkle. Frankly, that's quite boring. However, I do encourage everyone to notice the little things in life, because you never know what it might lead you to discover. For me, I found two amazing scientists who continue to inspire me after every science experiment. I suppose Marie Curie was correct when she said, and I quote, "Progress is neither swift nor easy," end quote. Simply, being a hero is a journey that takes time. Thank you.
We will allow the judges to tally their scores on this speech. And when you're ready, I'll introduce our second speaker. You ready to go? All right. I invite speaker number 2 to come up. Enjoy yourself. This is fun. Relax.
Picture this. The night is dark with a cloudy overcast and a chilly wind, and it blows through the city. You can hear police sirens in the distance echoing down the streets. The city lights are shining throughout the evening as you wait to enter the movie theater for the 9 o'clock showing of Peter Pan. All is normal, and it's a pretty typical Saturday night. Suddenly, a man in line reaches forward to the woman in front of him and grabs her purse. The woman screams and struggles to get her purse back. Everyone backs up, looking at the situation in fear. No one steps forward to help her. It seems like a scene straight from a movie. Suddenly, to your right, an old woman runs forward and tries grabbing the purse away from the man, stopping him in his tracks for a second before she gets knocked down. She yells, "Call the police." No one moves. But then, a dark shadow leaps from a tall building. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Superman. He jumps down, wrestles the bag away from the man, and handcuffs him, all in one swift movement. The woman's purse is returned to her, and she cries in joy, embracing Superman, asking how she could ever repay him. Meanwhile, the old woman who was knocked down struggles to get back up. Everyone cheers for Superman. In their eyes, he's the one who saved the day. But is the old woman any less of a hero than Superman? She put herself in danger even when others were too afraid to help. She wasn't stronger than the other man. She wasn't faster. She knew that helping the other woman would surely be a risk to herself. But she was willing to take that risk to protect those who needed it. And most of all, her actions filled the silence of the other onlookers. Because one person, regardless of gender, race, size, age, is all it takes to help another person. So that led me to the question of what exactly is heroism? What does it mean when you call somebody a hero? The dictionary definition of a hero is a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. But I believe it doesn't just stop there. Think about it. Many of the examples of heroes we see in the movies or the media show them completing some kind of grand gesture or life-threatening task that proves their courage. And many of these impressive actions are filled with good intent. But it creates a disconnect with normal, common individuals. It makes them believe that to be a hero, you have to jump 4 stories down to save a child from a burning building. But in reality, the small, simple things can also make the largest impacts. And many people don't realize that. For a long time, I've idolized heroes. Firefighters, policemen, superheroes with incredible abilities. But it's taken a long time to see that there are so many more real-life heroes standing in front of me every day. The people who make me chicken soup when my nose seems permanently stuffed, or those who dedicate their lives to teach grumpy high schoolers simply because they just love to teach. But it's so incredibly simple that most of us don't even think about it. So many heroes in our lives are silent. But as the saying goes, actions speak louder than words. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young boy who had just moved into a new state. He left his entire life behind and was ready to create a new one, but he didn't want to leave. All of his old friends, his old home, gone and replaced with new and unknown things. The first day he went to school, he had a constant pit in his stomach. The nervousness of being a new student sealed his mouth, and he could barely look anyone in the eyes. The mandatory new student introduction forced him to awkwardly stand in front of everyone and talk about his old life before sitting down near some kids who already seemed to know each other. Soon, it was time for coloring, and he randomly picked a marker out. Suddenly, a girl sitting across from him asked him what color it was. He looked up in surprise. Plum? he said shakily after reading the label. The girl looked at him for a second before widening her eyes and repeating, "Plum? What kind of color is that?" She smiled at him. The young boy stopped for a second before letting out the loudest laugh. Honestly, it wasn't even that funny, but his day brightened immediately. Almost instantaneously, he went from being isolated and awkward to opening up because someone decided to talk to the new kid. And she became a hero in his eyes. Surprise, but I was the new kid in the story. And there's always been that person sitting alone at the lunch table, or the one person without a partner for a project. Sometimes there's one person suffering alone because no one is willing to reach out and lend them a hand. And maybe, just maybe, I've been all of those people at least once before. I'm sure many of you have. But complimenting or even just smiling at someone who doesn't seem to be having the best day can make it seem brighter for them. And you become a hero in their eyes, even if they don't outright say it. As Arthur Ashe once stated, true heroism is remarkably sober, very undramatic. It is not the urge to surpass all others at whatever cost, but to serve others at whatever cost. Because all heroes come in different sizes and the extent of their actions also differ. We have our selfless veterans dedicating their lives to protect our nation, or doctors that save people's lives on the daily. And we also have our normal, hidden heroes that are unrecognized. But they have one thing in common. They are heroes because they spend their lives helping others. Heroes are selfless, courageous individuals, but most importantly, they care. They care that you're safe from danger. They care that you're having a bad day. And they're there for you. A true hero doesn't need a costume or a cape. All they need is kindness in their hearts and bravery to make the choice to help others. In the end, what does heroism have to do with you? What does all of this really mean? Simply put, it means that anyone can be a hero. Anyone can help someone out, and anyone can lend a hand. It doesn't take a strong person endangering their lives to be a hero, but it does take a strong-hearted individual who wants to help. So, is it a bird or a plane? No, it's us, because we can all be heroes in our own way. Thank you.
I'll wait for the judges. And again, I invite everybody, I hope you're having a good time listening to the speeches. I encourage our speakers to enjoy and relax. This is a lot of fun. You guys may not think so, but we're enjoying it. And hopefully it's a good experience for you all. Again, the Lions Club is hosting this. This is round one that eventually becomes a statewide competition. So you know the opportunity is to go to states. And the final scholarship is $1,500. So this is a wonderful opportunity for these students. It looks like we're ready. So I'm going to invite our third speaker.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shreya Ravi, and I will be talking about what a hero is to me. There are so many definitions of what a hero is, and the answer, it completely depends on perspective. To the citizens of Gotham City, their hero is Batman. To someone dying in a hospital, their heroes are going to be the doctors that save their life. To someone in love, their hero might be their partner. To a child born into poverty, their heroes would be vaccines, charities, and refugee camps. A hero can be anything from our sarcastic remark to a caped comic book character. I've told people that they're my hero for bringing me something they asked for, like the worksheet from the front of a classroom. I've been told I'm a hero for similar things, but that doesn't mean I'm a hero. A hero is a title that is earned with a sacrifice so great it can be incomprehensible to some. It's a sacrifice that many would not make.
The people who make these sacrifices are few and far in between. What all heroes have in common, though, is selflessness. They sacrifice themselves for the cliched yet accurate greater good. They give up living for themselves and live for the happiness of others. They do it because they feel it is their duty. A code of ethics ingrained into their mind is the force behind their actions. And despite when it would seem impossible to continue it, they follow it. A hero is someone who, despite when all odds are against them, will have the courage to move forward. A hero is a role model, a savior, and most importantly, do not do their heroic acts with the idea of the fame they will receive afterwards. One of my personal heroes is an advocate for many of my beliefs, and she has strength, bravery, and persistence. From the age of 11, she blogged about terrorism in her city using a code name because if they found out who she was, she and her family would have been killed. Even then, she was soon targeted and defended her friends and educational rights in front of an armed terrorist. This earned her a bullet in the head, and she fought then again, this time with her life. Her survival allowed her to go on to donate over $1 million with a global charity fund and become the youngest Nobel Peace Prize recipient. Malala Yousafzai is my hero because she risked her life for girls all around the world. She held to her morals. When the terrorists asked who on the bus was Malala Yousafzai, she answered truthfully and confidently that it was her, rather than allow one of her friends to take the fall. She bravely risked her life from the age of 11 and has helped countless individuals with her sacrifice. Pakistan's education has only improved since then and will continue with Malala's influence. She is truly a hero and one of the most deserving people of that title. Another one of my heroes is Lucas St. Onge. From the moment he was born, he struggled with severe, life-threatening medical conditions. His small intestine did not function, meaning he could not eat or digest food. It's pretty unimaginable, I think, to almost everyone in this room. He also had SCID, severe combined immunodeficiency, which meant that even the common cold could kill him. His older brother donated his bone marrow to Lucas when Lucas turned 3 months old. When Lucas was 4 years old, I actually had the chance to meet him. At the time I met Lucas, he was on the waiting list for a 5-organ transplant required to save his life. He was one of the only children in the world to have ever been diagnosed with both of these conditions. When I met him and his brother, what I didn't expect was for Lucas to be happy. He was full of energy despite his condition making him weak, and smiled and laughed, and he was full of joy. It truly shocked me that day, but it left me so inspired. If I was in Lucas's position, I don't think I would have been as happy as he was. I would have complained, I would have been sad. I don't know how he does it. He was fighting for his life every single day. When a 5-year-old, all they should have to worry about is school and playing with their friends. Lucas is one of my heroes because he didn't let his illnesses defeat his personality. When Lucas turned 5, a few months after I met him, he got the call that he could receive the organ transplants, and he survived the surgery. He is now 9 years old and has made a significant recovery so far, but most importantly, he bounced back happier and healthier than he had ever been before. So there are so many excuses for not being a hero to others, for being a bystander, because our town, Hopkinton, is privileged enough to be one of the safest towns in the United States of America. But by helping others and acting upon kindness, love, and respect, the word hero could become more common than it is. So what is a hero? What does it mean to have heroism? The word itself is a title, and it is the greatest title a person could achieve. Thank you.
So this does conclude the speeches tonight. The judges will wrap up their tally sheets. Once the judges have completed that, we will ask the students to come up, introduce themselves, tell us what grade they are, maybe a fun little fact about themselves. I failed to introduce myself. I am Connie Wright, live here in Hopkinton, and have had the privilege of being the MC at this event for 3 years, 4 years. I've lost count. But I appreciate having all of you students participate tonight. I realize it's not a de minimis effort, that you worked hard and took the time to research the topic of what is heroism. It always takes a little courage to get up in front of an audience and speak. Tonight is televised, so this will be presented on HCAM at a later date, which is I'm looking forward to seeing. The Lions Club is a nonprofit, an active organization here in Hopkinton. They perform community events that are both to the benefit of the community, and then they sit under the National Umbrella Organization that not only participates in the state and the country, but worldwide. I need some help from you, Lions, though, because I always fail at the acronym. LIONS.
Well, there's a different way you could say it, but the latest one is loving individuals, offering needed services.
Loving individuals offering needed services. Thank you. I knew it, yeah. And as I said, I always fail. And there are a number of activities that the Lions do throughout the year. If any of you, and I'm saying this for the audience that hopefully will be watching this later on, if any of you want to be involved, it's a really great group, a lot of fun. Their activities are throughout the year. They usually have the dunk tank at the Hopkinton Days, if you remember seeing that. And I just welcome everybody to check out the Lions Club and think about getting involved. So with that, still waiting on the judges to finish their tallies. I don't know. I'm not good at tap dancing. And once the judges are done, as I said, I'll ask the students come up and introduce themselves. I don't know if there's any other comments, but I do realize that this is a village effort. There are a lot of individuals who have been involved in this. First of all, getting the word out about this speech contest. And we do thank the students that have participated tonight. They also select the judges, and we'll learn about the judges in a little bit, but we really appreciate the judges' time for coming out tonight and participating. A couple of you are repeat judges and have done this multiple years, and so thank you again there. That said,
Don't worry, we'll edit it, Connie.
I know you will, Jim, and I was kind of counting on that. It's like, all right, do. But you won't edit the bad stuff. I mean, you'll keep the bad stuff in, I know. No pressure, I just didn't know I had to tap dance. All right. So, at this stage, are the tally sheets collected? No. Great. And the official counters will count. So first, I'm going to ask the students to come up here and introduce themselves, and then we'll take a moment and we'll flip the camera around and we'll ask the judges to introduce themselves. So, speaker number one, if you would please come up, and your name, the grade you're in, maybe a side interest, and just a little bit about yourself.
All right. Hi, my name is Simran Kaur. I am a sophomore in high school. Some clubs I participate in are mock trial and youth and philanthropy, which is a great way for youth to help other unadvantaged youth in the area. I've also been competing in science fair for about 4 years now. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. All right, speaker number 2.
Hi everyone, my name is Kevin Gu. I'm a sophomore at Hopkinton High, and I'm a school swimmer. I actually have tryouts after this, and yeah, it's a little rough. I also am a piano player, a pianist. I've played piano for about 7 years, 8 years, I think. I don't know. And I've performed at Carnegie Hall like twice, I think. Thank you. And I'm also editor-in-chief for our school newspaper.
Thank you. And last but not least, our third speaker.
Hi, my name is Shreya Ravi, and I'm a sophomore in high school too. And I am a chair for Model United Nations, and I'm also in mock trial with Simran and Kevin. They're both in it too. And I'm also a secretary for Youth Acro Initiative, which is this club that we created, which it was Kevin, Simran, and I created it. It's this club where we go to the senior centers in Hopkinton and we perform music for them. And it's like a great way to connect our community and stuff. Thank you.
I'd like the judges to please, you have a mic in front of you, you can pass it around, and please introduce yourselves.
I'm Laura Berry. I'm the newbie this year. I've lived in Hopkinton for about 12 years with my family. I'm an attorney. I have been at a podium like that many, many times in my career. And I truly respect all of you for coming out tonight and doing this. What you did takes your own amount of courage, and you're all extremely very well prepared, and I appreciate that. I currently work in Worcester for a nonprofit organization. I just want to add that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rich Bettina. I work for Fresenius Medical Care, and I manage corporate real estate across North America for that company. As a hobby, actually, I powerlift. I'm on the USA team and have competed internationally for medals twice within the last couple of years. You guys have done amazing, all of you, actually. Just in general, my only advice would be just to stay as relaxed as you're all very animated, which is fantastic. Just be relaxed and watch your pace as you talk and make sure you're connecting with the crowd. I think you did great.
Thanks. My name is Steve Perryman. I'm an optometrist in Hopkinton, Mass. Here. I'm not a power lifter. I never will be. But this is also my 4th or 5th time, I think, here or so. You lose track after a while. And today's group, you guys were all great. It was great to listen to the 3. I always learn something when I'm here. And what struck me tonight is that all 3 of you seem to have other interests, and you're excelling in other parts of life also. And I found as I've gotten older that when you meet successful people, they usually have success in many different facets of life. So I think you're all going to do very well despite the outcomes from tonight. It was a pleasure to listen to you all.
Yes, tonight there can only be one winner, so unfortunately we have to select one. But it was very exciting to hear all of your speeches, and we do appreciate the time and effort that all of you put into this. And congratulations to all of you. Well deserved. Well, we do have a winner, and I know it was a difficult decision and hotly contested, but I am pleased to announce that I think it's Kevin Gu is our winner. So you will advance. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's time tonight, and congratulations to all of you. And thank you very much for coming out tonight, and congratulations to you, Kevin. Thank you.